fundamental question any marketer can ask is, who's buying? Let's be clear, a brand is not a product or service. This is not a hamburger. It's a promise. You buy a Big Mac in Bangkok, Thailand, you buy a Big Mac in Sao Paulo, Brazil, or you buy a Big Mac on the rock and roll McDonald's here on close to downtown, it's the same. I didn't say it was good.
You didn't say what the promise is. But the promise is the same.
The promise is the consistency of the product. They do a very good job of that. Now, mind you, in every country they modify the product somehow to suit the local tastes. But their promise is to deliver uniformity when it comes to the product. Well, do I need to explain this? This is a promise for me to see things differently. They do very well with this. The brand is everything to this company. Now, what was cool at Orange, okay, you still don't get it, Paul, do you? No, I don't get it. Okay, well, let's assume the brand's a person. I'm going, okay. Well, that person would be cool, you know, trendsetter. They'd be friendly, optimistic. They'd be refreshingly unconventional. They'd be upbeat, dynamic. They would be honest, straight talking. Sort of a can-do kind of person. So in other words, the Orange's brand values, in fact, I still carry it today. I don't know why, it's because I'm a bit crazy. But when I worked for Orange a long, long time ago, they used to give this to the employees. They said, welcome to Orange, here's your card. What's this? Well, it says, you know, brand essence, a bright human future, and their brand promises. A brand is a promise delivered. Orange promises to be straightforward, honest, refreshing, dynamic, and friendly. So I go, that's pretty cool. I get it. No, you don't get it. We hired you because you were there. Now, in our case, I want to give you an example. ROM Telecom, when I joined in 2005, it was such a fun challenge. I said, Paul, everybody hates ROM Telecom. The brand sucks. You have no staff, or the marketing staff is non-existent. There's no products, no broadband yet, there's no TV. I said, what do I sign up? This sounds like a challenge to me. And it was a challenge. But there's a lot of things wrong with it. And my boss, also very important, CEO was really behind this. The CEO back then was an American who did an amazing job. ROM Telecom back in 2003 was virtually bankrupt. And in about 2 years, he compressed costs and brought it back to profitability, but he could only squeeze a lemon so much, right? Now he needed someone like me to sort of say, go get the business. I'm like, okay, nobody likes me, we don't have products, and I can't even get my hands on staff. Luckily, because I worked at Connex a long time ago, when they said, Paul's working for ROM Telecom. Ooh, what does that mean? So I brought a handful of people, and I sort of distributed the news and said, okay, there's a new beginning, we're going to transform this place, and we did. And my commitment to my team members is that I'm going to make you the best marketers in the world. Simple stuff, but when your team members are arguing and marketing and they're fighting with sales about how to manage the business, this is one way of saying, guys, who's the client? What's the brand promise? What did we promise to do to our client? It's amazing. Once you got that direction, you're going, oh, okay, I get it now. Dolce, when I was doing all this cool branding thing for ROM Telecom, we were a fork in the road. And Jim said, Paul, I can do two things. I can launch the brand, or I can launch Dolce. What do we do? Well, of course, I wanted to launch the brand. But I said, Jim, let's do what's right for the business. And what was right at the time was to launch Dolce, which is a brand new service. Because ROM Telecom had cable back then, but they sold it. But DTH, or direct-to-home satellite, was the next best thing for us. And it was a good decision. So I took all that learning of the brand change, development, and just plopped it somehow on Dolce. And when we launched Dolce with the colors I'll show you a bit later, it made a nice impact. It sort of said, oh, look at that. It's like a aha moment, an insight. Yeah, ROM Telecom really can, part here is that we went to ROM Telecom and changed it to them. I said, well, there's various levels of way of changing it. Orange, of course, you go from orange this, orange that, but look at France Telecom, HP had a different look changing. Depending on the actual logo, you have varying levels of change. Look at this one. Bell Atlantic went to complete change to Verizon. And you've got the other extreme where you're saying, okay, orange, no name change, no logo change, tone of voice, no change either. So you've got different levels of extremities you can go when you're actually changing or modifying a brand. When we were looking at changing the brand Renaud Telecom, we were really going to change the name to something else. As I mentioned to you, the fork in the road was such that we launched BTH. But all that work I've done on branding was useful for Dolce, which is what we did here. So the architecture initially was Dolce, and we were very, very worried about this. We said, no, let's go bold. Let's say it's Dolce, my okay? So that's what we did. And the tone of voice is another, when I was talking about tone of voice earlier, in terms of my vomit color, the green and yellow. The tone of voice is exactly what do you make it look like to bring it alive. It's got to be fulfilling, it's got to have heart and soul. So the tone of voice is exactly one of the steps required to take a brand from a word to making it alive. We said, today, that's Renaud Telecom. You know, he's about 55, he's a business manager, his attire is outdated, he's very conservative. First impression is like, don't piss me off. And I'm grumpy. That was, I mean, again, this seems simple, but we had to try and find the right words. We said, on top of that, he's impatient, unfriendly. He's confident, that's good. He's safe, he's dismissive, he's okay, he's got experience, temperamental, complacent. So what I was telling staff, this is who we are, really. They said, so? I said, well, we need to do this now. We need to become this guy. And I think the girls would agree, he's much better looking. Younger entrepreneur, he's smart, well-dressed. He commands respect, but he's friendly. And the next trait, he's confident, like our past guy, but he's more upbeat. He's more, here are the brand values. He's trustworthy, he's outgoing, and he's approachable. We needed to be approachable. So when I was trying to educate people on why all this was important, this was a visual way of showing it. So how do we go from the old guy, this guy here, to this guy? And that's exactly the process we went through on Telecom. And I can tell you, with the support of the CEO and the support of my team, it was a fun project. It really did make some changes, but you'll learn in a few minutes when I talk about a few examples. We were on the right track. Right? Remember that? They need to be consistent. They're an asset. These are real numbers. When the books of the valuations companies, because they've done so much work in your brand and they're pervasive and omnipresent, typically these brands are worth a lot of money. So the more money you put into it, you do see the market valuation of those brands. Brand building or refreshing, the facelift I was talking about, requires a structure, a plan, and a destination. That applies to life, by the way. Right? If you don't have a plan, go a second. If you don't have a plan for your life, how do you know when you get there? It's no different for brand development. But you do need a structure. We talked about that. The 3 steps, a plan. Where are we going with this? I knew when I was launching Renaud Telecom, we wanted to be a serious player in the business. And we became that. It didn't happen overnight. If you remember the time scale, it was over almost a year and a half. This book, you have to. I'm not a shareholder, but Stephen Covey is not this, I'm think rich and be the best. That's a lot of hype, it's a lot of crap. What he talks about, I was worried about it being culturally acceptable in Romania, it works. In fact, when I joined Renaud Telecom, I bought books for the entire marketing team. I said, you read this, and if you don't read it, you don't show up tomorrow morning at the meeting. And they did. It's a great book. This is for advertising, but also for presentations. If you've got an investment penchant, this is a very good book. This one here is a classic. I challenge you, I don't care if you have a job or if you're looking for a job, you need to read this.